Good afternoon, everyone, and thank you so much for being here. I'm John Szabo, City Librarian for the Los Angeles Public Library, and I am just so pleased to welcome you all to the dedication of the Vermont Square Branch Library in honor of our former Library Commissioner, Rita Walters. My heart is really full today, has been all day, and I know your hearts are full as well as we come together to celebrate and recognize just an amazing life, someone who's made so many contributions to our institutions here in LA, to our city, to our community, to our libraries. The Los Angeles Public Library, our staff, our volunteers, supporters, our library commissioners have such admiration and respect for Commissioner Walters and all that she meant to our libraries and to our city. She served our community for nearly 40 years, improving our schools, communities, and libraries. And I adored Rita Walters. I really did. Honestly, from the first conversation I had with her when I became city librarian just over 9 years ago. She was tough, she was fierce, smart, focused, a relentless advocate, as I think we all can attest. She was always caring and empathetic, and every inquiry, every tough question, and there were many of those tough questions, all of them came from a really good place, and you knew it. They were always rooted in integrity, a desire to do good, to improve lives for the people in this incredible city, to make government work more effectively, more efficiently, and more equitably. Rita Walters led with empathy and a deep sense of community service. First, as a member of the Los Angeles Unified School District Board of Education from 1979 to 1991, she fought for racial equality on the board and against unfair busing plans at the height of desegregation. She was the first African-American woman to serve on the LA City Council from 1991 to 2001. She represented the 9th District, including the Vermont Square area. But it was her mission to represent all Angelenos fairly and to assure that the city hired a diverse workforce. Rita Walters was appointed to the Board of Library Commissioners in 2002 by Mayor James Hahn. She served as a commissioner during the greatest period of expansion and innovation in the library's 145-year history, which included the largest library construction program in the nation. And truly, her experience, commitment, and really in-depth understanding of the library and the city played a crucial role in the success of that massive expansion project. Rita Walters is one of those rare people that you look back on and say not only that you respect them, but that you are deeply, deeply thankful to have known them, to have walked this earth with them, and witnessed their wisdom and their leadership. And she truly understood the power of libraries and their impact on people and neighborhoods, and she helped countless others understand that too. And that is, frankly, a big part of Rita Walters' legacy, I think. Before retiring in 2017 from the library board, Rita served for 15 years under 3 different mayors, James Hahn, Antonio Villaraigosa, and our current mayor, Eric Garcetti. And like Rita Walters, Mayor Garcetti is a tremendous advocate for libraries and understands their essential role. And I am so pleased that he has taken time to be with us here today. And so it is now my pleasure to introduce our mayor, Eric Garcetti.
Thank you. Give it up for John Szabo, our incredible city librarian, and for all of our librarians in the city of Los Angeles who are helpers with job seeking, with graduating, becoming citizens, doing everything. They are amazing, amazing human beings I've been honored to serve alongside as a public servant. And I think Susan Kent and Fontaine, are you both here? Fontaine. The librarians who came, I always thought it's the best job in the city of Los Angeles to be the city librarian. Don't tell any council members or mayors or city controllers or general managers of other departments. Thank you, Fontaine, for your incredible service as well. And thank you, John, for helping convene us all together. To our library commissioners that also have served with, followed in the footsteps of our beloved Rita Walters, I want to thank them as well. Bicknock Cow is right here, and you'll be hearing from her president of the the Board of Library Commissioners, and Ariane Edmonds, our newest commissioner, who's also here. Thank you for your service, Ariane, as well. Tom Labange, beloved brother of all of us, passed earlier this year unexpectedly. We were just talking about it. And he used to always say to folks when they came to city council from the depths of his heart, "You're an angel in the city of angels." It was kind of a throwaway term, but he meant it. And whenever I hear that, I think there are truly some people who are kind of the guardian angels of our city. I probably had the shortest term of service that overlapped on the city council with Rita Walters, because I was fulfilling a seat that Jackie Goldberg had but got elected to the state assembly. And so there was pressure to swear in the council member from the 13th district early. So on June 15th, before Rita Walters left on July 1st, I got to serve for 2 weeks with Rita Walters on a city council. So I call her not just a colleague in service, but at the same time. And I'll never forget when I was seeking her endorsement, something I shared at her memorial, the one appointment I've ever forgotten or messed up or something. I was in charge of my own calendar then, so that says everything. But I was a professor at Occidental, and I was hustling around, and I suddenly looked at whatever, we didn't have phones that did it back then, my book, and I was like, I missed my meeting with Rita Walters. And I got some flowers, and I came to Council District 9. I knocked on the door, ready to be like chewed out and told, you can forget about an endorsement. And I'll never forget the kindness she showed to me. She came, and I said, "I'm so sorry. It's not like me. I used to come early. I have the greatest respect. My father loves you. I know your record." And she couldn't have been kinder. I know a lot of people have stories about how tough she was, but she could not have been kinder. To show a heart and a love, she said, "Don't worry about it, Eric." And I gave her the flowers, and she said, "I'm sorry, we can't accept gifts in the city of Los Angeles because of our ethics laws." I said, "But we can't just put them up here, for the general public." She's like, "Sorry, you're going to have to take those home to your girlfriend or your wife or whatever." So Amy thanks you for those flowers. And it showed me you can be a principal and you can also lead with your heart. That's who Rita Walters was. This most beautiful of libraries, this Carnegie Library, the only one we ever got for completely free. Ish. Fontaine's like, ish. I don't know. My notes say that. We'll get Fontaine. Do we get other free ones, or was this one not completely free? It wasn't completely free. All right. We got it free-ish, on the Carnegie discount. Is one that reflects the beauty of this woman. And I want to thank the Board of Library Commissioners and John and all of this community, our neighborhood council, the neighbors who said, yes, this is worthy of Rita Walters' name, and her name is worthy of us. There's this tradition of people like naming things for themselves while they're still in office and still alive. I told my staff, I will veto anything while I have the power to. I like to have the distance of time to really feel who has made a difference in our city. And I think with the absence and the hole that the city feels with Rita Walters no longer with us physically, we're able to look and to know that absolutely she deserves this honor. Her activism, her advocacy, it started at home in her own neighborhood. It started with her own family. And I want to say to David and Susan, your brother as well, that this is something that's a gift to the family. And my father, his elementary school, he's still alive, so I don't know how that worked out, but his elementary school, 68th Street, is now called the Gil Garcetti Learning Academy. And I know what it means as a child to see a parent's service recognized, but know that it's also your sacrifice that we're recognizing too, because a family serves together. The first Black woman to serve on city council sounds like just a note in history, but for anybody who's ever struggled to write that paragraph, you know how painful those pages turn, how long it takes, how many Black women who aspired to that and didn't get there laid the foundation for her to be able to be there, and the way she paid it forward as well. The way she took unpopular stances, gave constituents and community what it needed most, a champion, a fair shot, and a voice for those words that sometimes need to be said, but that few will give. as John said, under her stewardship as a commissioner too, we went from, I think, 63, I'm sure Fontaine's can correct me on this, 63 to 75 branch libraries, but we doubled the square footage of our libraries because we also added to the existing ones as well. And the last thing I want to say that I think is the true measure of this woman is, outside of all the official things she did, she gave quietly with no fanfare, volunteering at the Central Library as a docent and giving tours and sharing her knowledge. Long after folks like Zev and I and Holly Mitchell have these titles, I think we're defined by who we are when nobody's looking. Who we are, answering, as Holly so inspiringly said when she became chair, the why of our lives, something that stayed with me, Holly, something that Curren Price has taught me over time. Do those quiet things like Rita Walters did, and you will have a life worth meaning. And Rita, this library is for you. This tribute is for you and your family. Thank you for the tribute you've given us through your service to the City of Angels. Thank you. Oh, no, you are. Okay.
Thank you so much, Mayor Garcetti. Speaking about this being a Carnegie Library reminds me of the 100th birthday of this building. And you know who was here cutting the cake with Councilmember Price? Rita Walters was here. I remember that was a great day. Now I'd like to introduce a leader who, despite her very busy schedule, has taken time to host and be here for story times at the library, at branch libraries here in the city. And I want to tell you, I've been there firsthand and witnessed said storyteller, and she's fantastic. So anytime, you're always welcome back to the library to help us tell stories. She served as a state senator for California's 30th Senate District from 2013 to 2020, and now she represents LA County's District 2. Please welcome County Supervisor Holly Mitchell.
If you haven't participated in the library's Milk and Cookies reading time, shame on all of you, because it was the highlight of my month. I enjoyed it so. It was fantastic. Good afternoon, and thank you, John, for that wonderful introduction. And thank you, Susan. I appreciate you for making sure that I could get here. This dedication, of course, will not only honor Rita's life and legacy, but will inspire Angelenos through her remarkable story and example. And as the mayor said, that this will not only be a legacy to Rita's work, but a lasting memory for her family. And so I congratulate you, and it was wonderful to meet those of you I'd never met before today. 40 years of public service, woo, is the commitment of a lifetime, especially for someone who so steadfastly advocated for racial equity as a school board member, city council member, and an LA City Library Commissioner. The struggle was never easy, never has been, and very likely never will be. And Rita knew all too well that it likely wouldn't end in her lifetime. She was often the only or one of very few elected officials fighting an uphill battle on critical issues like the integration of LA's public schools, police use of force in communities of color, and equal access to employment and housing and education. The fight was personal for her, and it made for a life-changing difference for so many, including, frankly, David and myself. If not for her, many may have been deprived of their right, their fundamental right to public education. Despite Rita's exceptional commitment to equity, justice, and the well-being of her community, the struggle did not end with her passing. I can't think of a better way to dedicate this library, given the continued relevance and inspiration of Rita's life and legacy. Charlie Brown's little sister Lucy talked about the brilliance and energy of girls with naturally curly hair. You get my drift, Susan. And so when you think about Rita being the first Black woman to serve on the LA City Council, I have to tell you, as a Black woman in elected office serving in LA, you know, she was our North Star. To have the opportunity to have audience, and if you were fortunate enough, as I was on more than one occasion, to be granted support and endorsement, and beyond that, just the counsel and the conversation and her hand on your back which for me, who stands 6 feet tall in my stocking feet, and Rita, who, well, we'll just say she didn't, proved for an interesting visual in all of our pictures. I was honored to host the two of you in Sacramento and to recognize her when Black History Month, and just to see her tickled. I had the pleasure of sharing the table with her when Congresswoman Bass invited us both to the Congressional Black Caucus. And the Congresswoman introduced her to our forever president, President Barack Obama, and to see the light and joy in her eye just amused me to no end. I am grateful forever for those special moments that I had to share with her, and thrilled to be here today to participate in the naming of such a prestigious, beautiful library in her name. And I'm sorry, Mayor and Curren, but LA County does have the best scrolls. I'll just say, just, that's right. And so, Susan, you all get to decide if you want this to hang in the library, if you would like to take it home. But it gives me great honor on behalf of the all nearly 11 million residents of the great county of Los Angeles to present this scroll, recognizing the significance of today.
And with us today is a leader deeply invested in the success of Vermont Square and the surrounding neighborhoods. He is also a very strong and passionate library supporter, has been wonderful to the Los Angeles Public Library, currently representing Rita Walters' former Council District 9 area. Please welcome City Councilmember Curren Price.
Thank you, John. Welcome to the new ninth. Yeah, on a beautiful Friday afternoon. Thank you, John, for that very kind introduction. And big props to our libraries for providing free access to technology, information, and other valuable programs. And of course, we know that the services and workshops that are available here, a lot of folks aren't even aware of. And so we appreciate, John, what you're doing. And let me just personally thank you and the commissioners and the library staff here at Vermont Square for the outstanding work that you're doing and the legacy that you help continue. I'd also like to take a minute to acknowledge the family who've come out to celebrate. And again, we just appreciate your giving Rita to us for a period of time. In fact, we're going to be hearing from Susan in a minute. But Rita achieved so many firsts throughout her life, and she opened the doors for so many of us to go through. Today's dedication at the library in her name is a true testament to the many triumphant accomplishments she made and that she dedicated her life to here in the City of Angels. And this is a special treat for me. As John mentioned, we celebrated with Rita here several years ago, the 100th anniversary of this institution. And for me, it's even more personal. I attended Normandy Avenue School right here in Normandy and Vernon, and I used to walk here. This was my library back in the day. Yeah. But Mrs. Walters spent her life with a keen focus on the issues that matter most in the lives of the folks here in CD9 and in the city. And she would not back down from getting into some good trouble, as they say. She was a firm advocate for children, for workers' rights, and for all of underserved members in the community. Simply put, Rita was a giant who laid the groundwork that continues to uplift minority communities to this day. As a woman of color, she experienced discrimination in various degrees, but faced those difficulties head on with courage and with strength and style, I might add. She sought out change at every turn, and in doing so, she became a relentless fighter for justice and equality, not just for herself, but for everybody. She wasn't selective. The distinctive ability and heart that Mrs. Walters had led to propelled her to make history as the first African American woman to serve on the city council. Taking the reins from Councilmember Gil Lindsay, she quickly gained the respect of her peers for her no-nonsense approach to getting things done. As a council member, she was a staunch advocate who was committed to ensuring Black workers and other minorities gained an equal opportunity in employment in the city. In addition, she was an early champion who challenged the excessive force used by the police department. She was not afraid to speak out. And in her readiness to do the hard work, she set a shining example for all of us. To fight for what's right and to believe that we can make a difference, we can make a change, no matter how big or small. She was a true giant in the city of LA who demonstrated that opportunity is within everyone's reach and that a woman's potential had no limits. Her long list of accomplishments and contributions benefiting the advancement of people within the city are immeasurable and has left a tremendous legacy behind. Not only did she carve out a space at the table, but she brought her own chair, and she wasn't afraid to sit. So I'm thrilled to give Ms. Walters her flowers today. Her legacy will live forever, will be submitted in the fabric of the city of LA and right here at the Vermont Square Branch Library. And for that, we are all very, very grateful. And while the county certainly may have more lavish proclamations, the city proclamation is framed.
Thank you so much, Councilmember Price. We are here today, the dedication, thanks to the Board of Library Commissioners. In December of 2020, the Board of Library Commissioners initiated the process to dedicate this library in honor of Rita Walters. In April of 2021, after the board received a tremendous number of letters and emails supporting the dedication from the community and from elected officials, they unanimously voted in favor of this dedication. Please welcome Library Board President Biknak Cow.
Rita Walters was a trailblazer, a model public servant, and champion of equality and equity. She was a tiny lady, smaller than even me, but I consider her one of the giants of Los Angeles. I was so fortunate to have served with her on the library board for 5 years. She was 83 when I arrived on the board at 31. I've always wondered if our age gap was the biggest ever on a city commission. We came from such different times that when she talked about needing a ride to Central Library, I suggested Uber, and she looked at me like I was speaking another language. I was a little intimidated by Rita when we met, but she always extended grace and respect to everyone, never treated me like a kid, and showed me by example how to be a commissioner and a leader. Our libraries benefited greatly from her leadership and her voice, as she emphasized the importance of a robust, free public library system. I spent a lot of time just listening to her to absorb the knowledge and wisdom that she had to share with us. And these days when I have difficult public service decisions to make, I sometimes wonder, what would Rita Walters do? It's fitting that the Vermont Square Branch Library is in the heart of her former council district. This branch has a distinguished history as the first branch library in our system, and it's now a historic landmark. I was pleased to take part in the unanimous vote by the library board to dedicate this illustrious building to a great Los Angeles stateswoman, Rita Walters. I'm happy to be here representing my colleagues as we unveil the plaque honoring her, and I thank you for joining us. And now I also have a proclamation or resolution for Susan. It's not as colorful, but it's from the heart.
Thank you so much, Commission President Cowell. I'd now like to recognize Jacqueline Hamilton, who has brought a resolution from U.S. Congresswoman Curren Bass and represents the 37th District. Thank you for being here.
Thank you very much. I was told I wouldn't have a speaking role, so I'm absolutely thrilled to be able to bring greetings on behalf of the Congresswoman. I spoke to her just before this, and she said, "You're going, right? You're going to make sure that they know that I wanted to be there and that how important this is to me." So she is very much here in spirit with everyone. Rita Walters was very much a mentor to her, an advisor, someone without whom she might not have found the resources to serve in elective office, both because of Rita Walters' legacy and, having blazed the trail, and also because of her direct advice and support. So I like to think that Rita Walters has a legacy not only in her family, but of course in the many elected officials, especially the African American women who have followed in her footsteps and continue to benefit this very community. This is also in the 37th Congressional District, as it is in the former senatorial district represented by Holly Mitchell, and now in her second supervisorial district. This neighborhood is tremendously important to Curren Bass as it was to Rita Walters, and I'm sure that she could give no greater tribute than to say she will continue to do the work to serve this community as best she can. And we're actually submitting a congressional record entry in honor of this dedication. I don't have it yet because we didn't get to submit it quite yet. But the congressional record is the official record of the proceedings of the Congress of the United States. So Curren Bass likes to say that getting into the congressional record is like being entered into the official history of the country, and Rita Walters deserves no less.
Thank you so much, Ms. Hamilton. Mayor Garcetti wonderfully recognized our Board of Library Commissioners, and certainly they've been recognized a number of times already, and thank you so much to Commission President Cowell for speaking. But I also want to myself recognize our newest commissioner, Ariane Edmonds. Thank you for being with us today. And I also want to recognize, and she's already been helpful to a number of us today, a predecessor of mine, a city librarian, Fontaine Holmes, is with us. So official recognition of Fontaine, who also was so instrumental in leading all of that expansion work of the Los Angeles Public Library. Every day in this system, amazing things happen within the walls of our libraries and with outreach work out into the community, whether it's Ciclovia or taking the library out into the community. Our staff just do amazing work. I am so proud of every single person that works at the Los Angeles Public Library, and really want to recognize today some of those leaders. Susan Broman, our assistant city librarian, is with us. Our Director of Central Library and former area manager for the Central Southern region, which of course includes Vermont Square, Corinne Malone, is with us today. Thank you, Corinne. Our area manager, Adam Mendelson, and also our branch manager here at the Vermont Square Branch Library, Martha Sherrod. And also, let's just give a big round of applause for the staff of this branch library who just do fantastic work. And please know, I want all of you to know that there are hundreds more staff who Rita Walters, frankly, was wonderful about amplifying, lifting up, and thanking the staff of this library system at all 73 of our locations. But do know there are hundreds of Los Angeles Public Library staff who would have loved to have been here in support of this dedication. But at the moment, and I think Rita would have really liked this, they are serving Angelinos at libraries throughout the city, keeping our doors open and providing great service. And at the end of the day, that was what Rita Walters, I think, was about, was service to the community. There are also many individuals and groups who are invested in this community and supportive of the Vermont Square Branch Library, including the Voices Neighborhood Council. Representing the Area Neighborhood Council, please welcome Matthew Crawford.
Thank you for the introduction. Thank you. I don't have any personal stories of Rita Walters. I'm probably the youngest person up on this stage here. But I do have a 9-year-old son. And that my son is discovering what it's like to be Black in America. And one of the things I am staunchly for is by being able to point him in the direction of people who can inspire him to be great in his own way. And recently, he checked out his first public library book at this great library here not too long ago. And the great thing is that now, because of all the fine work that everyone here has done, the other members of the neighborhood council that I serve with, he's able to now, when he gets his next book and return the ones that are overdue, don't tell anybody. When he returns his books, he'll be able to look at that plaque I'm going to show him and point to a great example of a public servant who loved this great city and, more importantly, loved South Los Angeles. For those of you who may not know, the Voices Neighborhood Council stands for everyday people, the people on this block, people around the corner, everyday Angelinos who work hard, play hard sometimes, and love this great city. Sometimes their voices go unheard. And that's what we stand for, to help those voices be heard. So what I would like to leave with you here is that we all love South Los Angeles. We all love this city. And a lot of work is left to be done. And we hope, the Neighborhood Council hopes, that we can be a part of the change that is coming. And part of that change has to include pointing to people who inspire not just a generation, but a lifetime of service, a lifetime of change, because you have to be the change, and the change starts from each and every one of you. So the last thing I'll say is this. For the last several years, I would get up in the morning and I would look, brush my teeth and, swish my Listerine around, and I would look in the mirror and I'd hold my hands out in front of me. And I don't know why I did it, but recently I realized why I was doing this. It's because I looked at my hands and I said, to myself, you know what? I can make a change. And it's with these hands I can make this change. So the next time you're in your mirror, hold your hands out in front of you and realize that you can make this change. Believe in South Los Angeles. Believe in the heart of South Los Angeles, because the heart of South Los Angeles is each and every one of you. Thank you.
Thank you, Michael. Much appreciated. Or Matthew, I'm sorry. I was there for that Voices Neighborhood Council meeting when they voted unanimously to support this dedication, and the individual comments from the members of the council were very moving, and they knew Rita Walters and had beautiful things to say, and the letter of support was also wonderful. So thank you, Matthew, very, very much. This dedication is, of course, a wonderful tribute to Rita Walters, and one that is not only celebrated by the library, but also by her family and her many friends. And I am just so pleased, and it's always special to be in her company, but I am so pleased that her daughter, Susan Walters, is with us today, and we just would love for you to come and give remarks. Susan.
Thank you, John. As city librarian, I know that you and the library commissioners work very hard to make this happen, and your staff, Peter and Raquel. Sorry, I'm not seeing where you are right now, but thank you so much. So much for all the effort that you put in to make this day a reality. Really appreciate it. So I'd also like to let you know that this particular branch, the Vermont Square Branch, is the branch that was the neighborhood library for my father and his siblings. the youngest of which is with us today. Calvin, I saw him here somewhere. So we all know this branch very well. I also wanted to take a moment and just introduce Barbara Washington. She's here in the front row, is my mom's sister, who is just a year younger than my mom. Great friends and just amazing people. Really so. Thank you. So on behalf of my brothers, Philip and David knows everybody, right? And our extended family, so many of whom are here today, we could have a reunion. We really want to express our gratitude to everyone for the hard work to be here today and for joining us in honoring our mother. This is a meaningful tribute, and it has touched us deeply. During her childhood, she grew up in a racist, segregated environment in Kansas City, where you were expected to go along to get along. For some, the racism would set them on a path of despair or self-loathing. But for Mom, it became a daily injustice that was unacceptable and fueled her life's work to seek justice for all. From this beginning, we are now here to celebrate her contributions to civic life in Los Angeles, in education, to libraries, to leadership. Indeed, from the early 70s, she made her mark by the way she cared for others and as a role model for women and people of color. So how did she become this leader we are honoring today? It began with the high expectations she set for herself and those around her, whom she knew and did not know. She always wanted us to strive to improve our lives and to care enough to want to improve the lives of others. For her, libraries are an essential to this journey. The knowledge and the free access to it is fundamental to the growth of the individual and the growth of the community, be it locally, nationally, or globally. Our mom saw libraries as an egalitarian institution where the doors are open to all, where you can strive to improve yourself in a safe environment, where information is accessible, and where you can seek the truth. All this reinforced her fundamental belief in constantly striving for a better human condition. In conclusion, if she were here today, she would want us to use this moment, as much as any other moment we have, to rededicate ourselves to working with each other towards a humanity that recognizes in our hearts and in our actions the infinite worth of each person. Thank you.
3, 2, 1.